It's more like 1 second.
Pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Is the roll call here?
Yes, Mr. Bassett? Yes, present. Mr. Finsky? Present. And Mr. Hutt? Present. You have a quorum. Tonight's decision will need to be unanimous. If it is not unanimous, then it will be continued to the next meeting.
Okay, item 3 here is the approval of previous minutes, and in reviewing what was emailed to us, actually had a couple of concerns and questions that I'd actually like to go back and review it. I didn't have full time to review it in its entirety. There was one clerical on there with regard to a vote on the second item, and I think there was a couple of things. So I'd like to make a motion to table the approval of the minutes.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimous. So first item up here, we have, let's see, it's V8 2518. You're the petitioner?
Yeah.
Okay, would you like to
Yeah, I
please step to the podium and present what you're looking for?
prepared a little statement, tried to make everything clear to everybody. Have bifocals, so read. Good evening, members of the board and attendees. My name is Mark Albert. I'm the property owner at 10418 East 116th Street here in Fishers. I'm here to request a variance to reduce the west side property line setback to 4 feet to accommodate a proposed garage addition. The project involves extending my current detached garage by 64 feet to the south. This will include 3 overhead doors, 1 foot traffic door, and will match the construction and appearance of the existing structure. It's currently 24 by 36 with a 7 by 8 door and a man door. The need for this variance arises from the placement of the original structure, which predates my ownership. It was put up by the Burks, which were several homeowners ago. The existing garage sits at a slight angle to the west property line to be parallel to the west wall of the house. To extend the garage in a way that's structurally sound, linear, and aesthetically consistent with the existing building, I must follow the existing building line. This projection pushes the new south-facing corner into the setback area. It's a single story, 13 feet at the peak of the roof, about 9 foot at the eave, and I'm requesting that that be let back to 4 feet. It's closer to 5, but in the event that I did eaves troughs or anything, I don't want to infringe on the neighbors. I have explored attempting to build strictly within the current setbacks, but this presents significant practical difficulties. Shifting the addition east to avoid the setback would result in a disjointed zigzag footprint. This would create an irregular roof line and a wedge of unusable internal floor space, compromising the utility of the building. A compliant footprint would misalign the southern door opening with the existing driveway apron to the house. Basically would put the building south end in where the driveway is currently.
Do you have the aerial of that can be put up on the TV? Because I know that we saw it in what was emailed, but just as you're speaking and talking through this. Be helpful to see it.
Okay. So the existing structure is in the gray. This is off of the GIS overlay. I tried to do the Google Maps, but it's not entirely up to date. So the house structure, the homestead is currently the misshapen one in the center. The back is a covered picnic area. And then the detached garage that I'm looking to add on to. The red would be the addition in the blue, and that is to scale based off of the ruler available on GIS. Between the house and the front building is currently a grove of trees, mature. And then where the building actually sits now, there are 2 trees. One needs to come down because it's interfering with the floor in the current detached garage. It's starting to buckle the concrete in it. The other one is nature is starting to delimit, and it's so close to the property line that that needs to come out so that it removes me from liability should anything occur within the neighbors. At the garage out front, apron had 11 Bradford pears, which I have spent every weekend this summer cutting down and chopping up into firewood because they're a terrible nuisance and they drop leaves late and it causes a bunch of grief for me and the neighbors having to clean up constantly. Sometimes it's February before they even drop their leaves. So I've gotten rid of all of those, and my plan is to replace those with evergreens, which are a little easier maintenance. So this would be looking in from the lots adjacent to mine, which would be the Lormans and the Dowds, with an 8-foot door on the south end, which would accommodate my truck. The 05 that I have has lived outside the entirety I've lived there and is starting to look like it came off the Lusitania. I have since bought a newer truck, and I really need to get garage protection for it. The house garage is 2 separate 7x8 doors, and either one will accommodate the truck. Ceiling's very low in it, and with the garage door openers in the center, I don't even have the height, let alone the mirrors, to get it in and out of the house garage. I own several older collector vehicles, which are currently garaged on the property, and because they're mostly jammed up in the front building, I really don't have drive access to them. If I want to get one, I got to move 5. So this is kind of in lieu of trying to put a 16-foot door on the front side of the house and turn it into usable space. With the expense of that, I can pay for the materials for Menards for this kit without having to alter the house. Another consideration that's important to me is shifting the project east. Because the grove of trees exists between the front building and the house, it shields my property from a lot of the noise on 116th Street. It's also a good kind of security barrier, and being mature trees, I really don't want to alter that. So I'd like to preserve the natural screening that it provides. As far as neighbor impact, I've discussed the plan with the 2 neighbors whose lots directly coincide with the addition, and that's the Lormans and the Dowds. And neither has voiced any objection or concern to what I've proposed. Everybody gets along very well. So, in summary, this variance allows for a logical continuation of an existing structure, preserves my mature trees, and does not negatively impact neighboring property values or views. Thanks for your time and consideration. I'd take any questions that you have.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Today we'll have a staff presentation, but we will not. Is that correct? We will not have a staff presentation tonight?
You will have a staff presentation.
Oh. Okay, I was just reading what was on the note here. Grace, please.
Good evening, Grace Wiley, planner for the City of Fishers. The item before you today is a request for a development standards variance from section 6.2.2.c.2 of the city's Unified Development Ordinance to allow an accessory structure setback of 4 feet. 10418 East 116th Street is located off of 116th Street between Cumberland Road and Hoosier Road. It is zoned R2 and is surrounded by residential uses. The Fishers 2040 plan identifies this area as estate residential. The variance request aligns with the comprehensive plan. Property is zoned R2 single-family residential and regulated by the city's UDO. Surrounding area, as shown here, is zoned residential. The north and south are zoned PUDR residential. The west is zoned R3 residential, and the east is zoned R2 residential. Fishers 2040 comprehensive plan designates the site as estate residential. Purpose of estate residential is to include single-family residential at less than 1 dwelling unit per acre. The proposed site plan and elevations are shown here. The red rectangle indicates the location of the proposed garage addition. The proposed location is 4 feet from the western property line. No public comments have been received. Staff has no recommendation to the Fall Creek Board of Zoning Appeals for this request. Should the board approve this petition, staff recommends it is done with the following condition. The approval letter and related documentation be recorded on the property with the Hamilton County Recorder's Office. Staff is available for questions.
You guys have any questions? The neighborhood adjacent, what is the side yard setback? Those are required to have, is it like 10 feet or something like that?
I'll tell you in just a second.
Larger estates.
They are required to have a 10-foot setback for if they have a front-loaded garage and a 5-foot setback if they have a side-loaded or rear-load garage.
And most, if not all of those homes, so just as a note, are at least 2 stories.
Their accessory structure setback would be the same, it would be 10 feet. So those setbacks are for the primary structure.
And you were saying, you're adding on to an existing
Yeah.
building, right? And to put it on the rear or the north side of that, it's supposed to
All
sound,
trees,
there's
like
trees that you'd have to take out there.
And it, plus I don't have driveway access. I've got a maple that I can't put my arms around that's directly between the house and that garage.
Yeah, I know
That side.
you said the neighbors are fine with it, so there's been, and the reason I asked that is that typically, what we have seen presented, and even at times recommended by this board, has been some type of landscaping in between, something like that, the property line.
Yeah, and I've already planted arborvitae behind the current garage.
Uh-huh.
And plan on continuing that line up.
Okay, so you do have plans
Yeah.
for some type of, okay. That's really the only question I had.
That area originally was a really overgrown bunch of yews, 2 Bradford pears, several other really scrub trees, and like, I don't know, like creeping vine and some stuff that black spikes on a green roof, all over everything. Now, I don't know if the Burks put it in, because originally this was the Siberian Husky Association of Indiana, when the Burks lived there,
Okay.
that built the original home. There was it's not railroad tied, but kind of a round post rough fence along that entire property line. Behind all that wood still had barbed wire. I have since removed all of that. So I cleaned that entire area up. Right now, it is grass and 2 trees. And again, the trees, one of them's causing a problem with the garage floor, and the other one, I literally, while I was working on the Bradford pears, I've got kind of a bad back, so I take it as I could go. Well, put the saw up, got done on a Saturday about 3 in the afternoon, started raining, good timing, and then crash right across the driveway. So it was light the saw back up, get a jacket on, go out, clear all the driveway off. And I don't want any of those ending up in the Dow's yard.
Sure.
So that, I have to rent a lift, and that's gonna be the spring. This whole deal has kind of been pushed back to the end of the year with me making preparations for it. That's why we're here in November.
Yeah, Bradford's quite the thing. Any questions, Chris? No. Would you be okay with a sunset clause, like if something were to happen, you have like a 2-year window or something of that nature? We've had previous issues where we've given variance to accessory structure and then it was never completed, or and that kind of sits with the land, and it's kind of this
Well,
open-ended.
If you wanna make the timetable on it, do your timetable, that's fine. I'm in the process.
Reasonable, something like that.
I've contacted that's one thing I wanted to ask about on the building permit online deal, where I initially submitted the permit for the structure. All of you guys are set up with pull-down menus on contractors and everything, which is why I originally submitted it as a homeowner bill. I have contacted one contractor who, he did the roof on that same house.
Mhm.
Probably would have been 18, 19, somewhere in there. He's still an active contractor, but he's a snowbird, so he goes to Florida during the winters. And he's already told me that this would be a spring build based on the November deal, because they wouldn't be able to get it in close. I couldn't add him.
Staff can do that, we can address the applicant.
Okay.
You can-
Because it shows the permit from the roof, so I'm assuming the information is somewhere in the database. I just,
We can do that
Okay.
offline.
And I may not elect to go with him,
Sure.
depending on how it turns out, but
But
there's
if,
two others.
if you were to choose someone and or change someone in the process, we can adjust that.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I have no problem with that. My plan is to move forward. I'm not getting any younger.
Sure. Anyone would like to make a motion on?
Well, I'll make a motion, to approve,
Yeah, we gotta at least open for public hearing.
Oh, thank you. So, I'm sorry, yes. Yeah, I guess we'll now open it for a public hearing. Seeing none, we will now close the public hearing. Okay, now would anyone like to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the BA 2518 with the addition of the approval letter and related documentation being recorded on the property of the County Recorder's Office, and with a sunset clause of the building or structure being built within a 2-year time.
Your second.
That's it.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous.
I would say aye, but I don't.
Yeah.
I was on my old HOA board. Trust me, you don't want me to join the board.
As far as you're concerned, you're good.
Okay,
Yeah, congratulations, good luck.
thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Um,
Thank you for all the help, Chris. Again.
Yes.
Okay, so, to your point, new business would be in the election of officers, if we want to move forward with that? Or is that separate than that?
We would do that at the next,
I would say you do it at the next meeting.
Okay, that's fine. Very good. Any old business?
normal business.
Okay.
The only staff communication is before you on there, you should have already received invites through Outlook. If you have not, we'll make sure that gets taken care of. These are the scheduled PUC reports for 2026. Please let us know if any of those dates don't work for you. But that's the only staff communication. We appreciate your work this year for the 2 meetings we had. We did not anticipate having a December meeting.
One question I had is if I were to find clarifications or corrections on those minutes, I just present those at the next board? Do we email them to you? What?
Whether you want to present those, and you can approve them with conditions that these changes be made,
Okay,
and then say and commit the changes after, but you don't want to have discussions on your minutes outside of the purview of
Sure.
the with me.
that makes sense. That makes sense. Okay, anything else? No? Is there a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion.
Second?
Second.
We are adjourned.